And I joined here as well by Random Meaning Caster. We have Feed the Dream versus Apes Stronger. Together, game number two. Feed the Dream went ahead and entered game number one. Already into Pro Draft coming into Random Meaning Caster. How you feeling?
I'm feeling kind of taken aback from game one there. That was a bit of a stomp coming up from Feed the Dream, a little unexpected. And so I am expecting to see changes in the bans here from Apes Together Stronger because they needed to fix something.
Oh, yeah, most definitely did. We already see that from Apes Stronger together, they went ahead and turned down the Thresh, and the Volibear, the Thresh was a huge point of contention there, especially from Feed the Dream, saving so many saving the countless amount of time, especially Entropy. Every single gang that blinks went in, living with 20 health like three or four different times, coming up super clutch. So taking that out of the equation should help a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about Peruano enough, but he was a hero that game. His death sentences were on point. The Flays as well. He stopped a couple of engages from Sean Beard's Cassidon as well. So absolutely monstrous on that Thresh. I think it's a safe thing. They banned it away. They can leave Caitlyn open because they could pick it, but they didn't. So Caitlyn's still up.
Yeah, it's still up, and they go ahead and lock in first pick Olaf. The Olaf was a huge playmaker for them as he was able to just run, run the people of A Stronger to get the route. Sorry, huge point for Feed the Dream. So A Stronger together decide, let's make sure that they can't get this. But Feed the Dream on the back end decide, you know what, you can go ahead and have your Olaf. What did the Caitlyn Morgana? And this bot lane should be a fun time for them and really only them.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough one, I think, for Apes to get the Stronger to try and handle. I mean, Caitlyn Morgana snares into traps. You're going to be locked down for days. If any CC lands here, it's going to be gank heaven for Nosy Kitten Kisser there in that bot lane. And we already saw how big a problem it was. I'm not sure Olaf for Binks is going to be much better than the Zac there. Zac actually had better engages or ways to get in. But now Olaf doesn't have a gap closer. He's going to have to run over things there. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to help the bot lane quite as much.
I was hoping to see the Senna Shen bot lane. I've seen it one time before. I want to say it works when you go ahead and go for the starving Senna. Like it's sorry, the fasting Senna is actually you want to call it, but they go ahead and go for the Soraka and said this is really interesting. Because Soraka does output a surprising amount of heals and also a fair amount of poke as well for herself. She is quite tanky, so it'll be interesting who decide to go ahead and pick for the ADC and the Shen likely going top. Shen did get a buff recently too, getting 20 extra shield on his passive and all of his uh other abilities.
Okay, and it looks like there was a small mistake. That's not a Zoe here for Feed the Dream coming through. That's actually supposed to be a Trundle here for Feed the Dream. Had me excited for a second. I thought Zoe, that would have been a
Ooh.
spectacular one to pick up. Those paddle stars from over walls can do amazing amounts of damage. And going back to that Soraka we're talking about, it is a bit of a different pick. We don't see a lot of Sorakas, but I actually really like it, especially for Minty. It is one of the champions he plays really well. Similar role to Yumi as well. So will be a bit more safer for himself. And more importantly, that tells me it's going to be a passive bot lane. And that's, I think, what Apes Together Stronger needs, considering how badly their bot lane went for them last game.
Definitely. So going and also with the Soraka having a bit more disengage for himself, which they did not have really at all in the last game, even with the silence and even when the heal should keep them alive for a bit longer. As they ban out the Yorick, man. I get it. It perfectly makes sense. The Yorick dominated the top lane, consistently pushing in the Alawi, and was a consistent side lane threat for Feed the Dream. Banning it out still, I'm a big Yorick fan, so it's like it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's your counter to Yurik right there. Just ban him. Don't let him into the game.
Just take him out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other way to handle it. We saw the Alawi kind of keeping him down for a little bit, but it wasn't a hard counter. And I
Yeah.
like this Syndra pickup right here for Feed the Dream. It worked so well in game one, and Syndra still a really sort of all-rounded champion. Doesn't do particularly poorly into any lanes. And we saw how good the scatter of the week was for Peel for Entropy. So I think it's a really safe pickup. But then I think they do need a bit more tank. So I am expecting something tankier coming out of the top side here for Trustiest Karma. His Poppy has been banned. We'll have to see what else he brings to the table. He has an Ornn, I believe, in his pocket as well.
This should be absolutely phenomenal. But we do also see the Ash coming out from the bot for the bot thing. For HR together, I think Ash is actually a really good pick right now into the meta. She does everything that Verse used to do, but almost just better, especially with the slows. And the global ult that she has too offers a huge engage tool as well. And perhaps even disengage if need be, plus the vision from the Hawkshot to help out a lot. And so Diana lock in for the last pick. Diana, I know, is also a cover pick as well for the side of HR together. But the assassin potential, especially with the immobility on Syndra, should come in really huge if if Syndra is not careful, this Diana could really get rolling.
Yeah, and we were actually talking about the Diana mid pick before the stream started here, Rav.
Yes, we were.
About how we haven't seen it for a long time, and here we go. It's gonna come in, and I think that's a great pickup for the team. But I do have my concerns about it in lane here, especially into the Syndra. If Syndra plays it right here, there's actually no way for Diana to get the engage. Scatter the Weak cancels the engage from Diana, so it can actually become a huge problem.
But it should be a lot of fun though. Is overall because considering they have two like early-ish threats, especially that, but that's considering it. If the Diana gets rolling, but with the Olaf being able to put on a lot more pressure in that early game, I want to see him visit top bottom side more so because I can't imagine, I can't imagine Blinton doesn't focus at bottom side. But this time he should have a better time. Although he might not be able to find those same angles, he won't need to because he can just run them down. Should be perfectly fine. And the Soraka coming in with the disengage and a silence should really help out a lot and really prevent the Morgana to be going ahead getting either a binding or a black shield to prevent any sort of like disengage coming out from them. But I'm excited. I'm really excited for coming into this, man. Like Feed the Dream look really strong coming into it, but I'm really looking forward to where's the cop coming from. Apes stronger together. Apes together strong. I keep saying it. I keep saying it.
I mean, together they're stronger. That's the whole point. Either way you put that name, it still works. And yeah, I'm excited for this composition. I like it a lot better, especially in their early game. Even if Binks can't find a gank, he can always fall back and power farm. He's on Olaf this time. He's got the power farmer. He can afford to do that here. Feed the Dream with the Trundle. I mean, the Pillar is one of the few CCs that do kind of work on the Olaf there, actual terrain. So that is a good counter pick. I do still think Feed the Dream has really strong individual picks, and more importantly, they have the scaling as well. With the Caitlyn this time, Ashe is strong in the late game, but just simply will not be able to match the range from Caitlyn, from Entropy, and the hit shots can just completely bust him down. Not to mention now the Maokai coming through for Feed the Dream. If you're looking for a tank, you don't get much tankier than a Maokai in that top lane. And while Olaf might carry access, I don't think they're going to be enough to chop down this tree if the game goes late here.
But you know what, though? What you need to chop down a tree is not an axe, my friend, but a sword, and which I believe Depression has plenty of. That Spirit Sword should come in. It should be coming in beautifully handy. And Shen, in my opinion, is heavily underrated. Within as almost a pocket pick for these top laners. Not only does he offer those beautiful tank tracks, but also a global ult. One, huge amounts of shield, and three, once he just gets a Tiamat too, he puts out a surprising amount of damage, especially when he goes ahead and doesn't allow auto attacks in his little realm. Plus, with the grasp, he usually wins out on most of these trades. And if he goes and prioritizes for the Titanic Hydra first, I think Truya's Karma might not have the best time in lane.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that one comes out because while he's running grass, there's a pretty good chance Trustius might either run grasp himself or instead he might go for the other. Just trying to remember what that summer is in that top lane that we often see coming out of Maokai's here. The shield, the exploding shield one, which also works really well. And his passive actually gives him sufficient sustain in lane that he can go without getting the grasp and still be able to match against Depression. And what I'm sort of hoping to see, and I'm really hoping that this happens, is Binks popping off in the mid game with the shields, with the heals, and just running into the back of Feed the Dream, watching everybody desperately try and kill him before he kills all the carries here. And I think that's going to be how Apes Together Stronger is going to sort of have to play this one here in the mid game. Either that or maybe Sean's Beard getting some beautiful moonfalls.
What you're looking for is Aftershock.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, Catcher, no worries. I got you, sir. Don't worry. Just go ahead and think about it like, the shock you receive after you find out Maokai does a surprising amount of damage, which he does. It's especially, if you go ahead and put your little saplings up into the bush and the level 5 Q not only offers a slow, which your passive being able to heal up, what you're able to get what you're able to get the Spirit of Visage along with the Sunfire. He's definitely winning out on a solid amount of these trades. But Shen should be a really good counter to him, and I'm really excited to see how they play. I'm also like a bit of a Maokai main as well. Look, I play a lot of top lane. All right, so a lot of these picks I'm really really excited for. But with that being said, my friends. We are going to go ahead into game 2 in just a couple seconds. We'll be back after a very short break. Between Feed the Dream and Apes stronger together. Don't touch that mouse button. We'll see you in a couple seconds. Welcome back, everybody, to Risen Esports Pre-Made Rampage Week 2. Feed the Dream versus Apes. Stronger together. I am Ravish, the most ravishing man on the internet. But I'm joined today yet again by a not too shabby person you just heard before, the random mini caster on that analysis, giving his top strats to us.
And I might not be as ravishing as Ravish over here, but I certainly am somewhat random. And so has this game been so far. Game 1 did not go the way I was expecting. The level 1 invade was kind of random. It looks like they were trying to do another level 1 invade. I was hoping to see that, but that ward going to stop them dead in their tracks. Instead, we're going to see a bit of a passive start here in game 2.
Yeah, but you know what? Level 1 shenanigans are always a lot of fun, though. But I find more often than not, that doesn't really translate to much. Like, yes, I have to get 500 gold. But then I find what it does is that it makes the other team like play even more passively because they're like they need to go ahead and build up a lead, and definitely like try to like you know definitely try to like get back even in the lane, which is not fun for anybody, man. Haven't you played like here? Tell, tell me, minicaster, what do you mean? Which lane do you mainly play?
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I play mid lane, but I do play very boring champions like a Nivea, where I just drop the glacial pool and just walk away. So
It's like
sort of boring standard lanes is pretty much normal for me there.
and it's like because look, like as a top lane, man, I was talking about playing the York, and I say like I want to actually at least fight after a certain point of time. I get farming, get your 1-2 pokes, and respect your opponent, but it's like fight me, man. Come on, something. Don't just put up a wall and walk away from me. Like I feel like disappointed father being like, look at me when I'm talking to you, you know.
And unfortunately, you're probably going to hate this bot lane then coming out of Apes together stronger, because with the Soraka, with the Ashe, there's a pretty good chance that they're just going to play extremely passively in this bot lane and look to just farm and skill up. Soraka is an amazing late game champion, especially if there is no healing cut, but early on, not necessarily the most aggressive here.
See already Predator getting really aggressive, missing the bind, but landing the ignite though. Already that was a super aggressive positioning. I don't think it would have translated to much though. Maybe if he went ahead and got the headshot, and maybe with a follow up one onto Minty, but it's like not too sure about that. But you saw yet again what we were talking about. Soraka being able to offer huge amount of disengage with that silence. He did really well for themselves. Something that they were lacking in that first game. So. But and also solid poke too. So many heals coming out for them.
And that was actually really, really close. If that Dark Binding had landed, we might actually have seen First Blood. Maybe because there is the barrier on Minty here. Interesting choice of Summoner. Just trying to stay alive. And to be fair, as long as Soraka is alive and healthy, that's a walking health pot for the rest of the team. So definitely better than maybe taking the exhaust here. And speaking of exhaust, Travel Pan running it in the mid lane, recognizing the threat from the Diana as well, from Seanbeard. So I don't know if we'll be seeing as much action in the mid lane as I originally thought, because exhaust kind of nullifies a lot of that.
It's definitely so. And I think that's definitely a huge, really critical pickup there by Travel Pan to just try to stave off Diana from going full force and diving in. Because considering even if she goes ahead and ults in, exhaust can go ahead and slow her just enough so that maybe Travel Pan can get the reverse, scatter the weak. Speaking of which is already used by him, so he has to go ahead and flash out over the wall because he saw that if Blink lands the undertow, that could have meant certain death.
Yeah, really good choice by Travel Pan there to remain safe, but that means the flash will be down for the next 5 minutes, and we could very easily see a revisit into the mid lane. 5 minutes means also that the solo laners will be past 6 at that point, so no flash available, and yet a lot of engage from Seanbeards with a possible Stand United to come out before that flash comes back up as well.
So Scatter of the Week coming out on Travel Pan to get Sean's being out of it. And remember, that's what we were talking about here before too as well, right? Minicaster, is that whether or not Sean's beard is able to just get onto Travel Pan and put out this huge amount of burst that Diana can bring out will come down to that Scatter of the Week. That's going to need to come in a clutch here. For Travel Pan, he needs to be able to land this, and then maybe even get like a 1 or 2 Qs of and a bit of follow-up damage after that. That'd be really nice for him. But that's still definitely be able to stave him off as nice root comes out onto Minty. Shield is there though, but the headshot lands, but the Q lands onto him, and the Black Shield can actually be pretty safe from any of the poke. Sphinx wanted to get some damage onto him. Nice binding yet again onto Sphinx, but heal comes out. He's out of mana, taken down onto Hapa TPs on the backside. Depression coming in. St. Trudeau is there, but able to get into the back. This could be a 4-man dive in the bot lane. But no, Blink just wanted to go ahead and get priority. She could drag.
Yeah, and I mean, that is what they have to do. Forcing the teleport out of Shen before he's 6 was huge. And in order to make sure they don't fall behind, Apes together stronger has to find something, an objective here. Is Nosy going to try to steal here?
No, he cannot, but he has to flash in, though. He is up against so many people. I don't know about that. Playing random minicaster, I would understand being over the wall and trying to go for the flash or even get to the pillar or something, but it's like flashing in front of 4 for this early Infernal Drake, the first Drake of the game. It's like, okay, I mean, First Blood over to Apes stronger together. Sorry, Apes, ATS. There you go, ATS.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't Infernal Drake. Great, it's valuable. Flashing over seems a little excessive, but then again, that level of randomness, I can get behind that. What really surprised me, though, was who secured that Inferno. It wasn't even Binks. It was Sphinx getting it with an auto attack there. Yeah. So I think Nosekin might have just misfired by the smallest of margins there. He almost got his hands on it. It was just, unfortunately, Sphinx managing to get that one in time. So at least Apes Together Stronger really do live up to their name, because together as four, they managed to save themselves, losing an Inferno there to a Smite Steal.
This is what we would have wanted to see out of them out of the previous game. Playing a lot more together, going for these objectives, and with the Olaf, they can definitely go ahead and do that, as he offers a lot more than a lot more of the early game power. Olaf is super strong with a ton of output damage. Although past 30 minutes, it is questionable, but like right now he's gonna be dominant, and the Trundle, knows he's gonna take some time, gonna be kind of stuck on pillar duty until he becomes more relevant. We'll see if he goes for maybe the Warrior enchantment or the Cinder Hulk. I want to see him go for the Cinder Hulk. Like Warrior Trundle's so boring; it does nothing.
Yeah, Warrior Trundle falls off pretty hard here, so definitely would not be great. And Bing steals the scuttle there.
Oh, I didn't even get to see that. Look at that. Blink. After a really tough early game one, after all those failed ganks, already getting a steal and the first strike, that's gotta feel really good.
He's trying to redeem himself for that almost not securing that Inferno there. He gets the scuttle. That'll be good. And we do see a lane swap come out as well. Entropy going to the top side. I'm not sure. I think it's Trustius who feels like he can't handle the Shen. So they've made the call here to switch things up. And while I kind of understand doing that, I'm not sure that the bot lane for Trustius is going to be any better here against a double ranged bot lane. He's going to take a lot of poke under his own turret.
I admit Maokai is pretty good about just staying back and farming. I can tell you as a Maokai lane, all the games that I played, but that before that, the Ragnarok is already popped here for a blink, taking it completely low, going out of the middle of a two. Lightning goes and strikes one, but it strikes twice, coming out to Travel Pan though. But TB comes out already onto two, after he going so low, one more undertook should do it, and he takes it down. It's a double for himself, but still, whoo, that was a huge TB coming in from depression. Sad no longer, trying to get down on to Blink. Nice little blast cone. But now it's not 1v3, it's a 3v1. A huge taunt coming onto two, gets a 3v1 kill for himself. At the end of the day, I believe that makes it a 3-for-3 for both sides.
I think so. The fight stretched on so long that Sean's Beard and Binks have already respawned here for themselves. So one hell of a messy fight on that top side, and it's not working out for Feed the Dream because everybody had to respond to that. You look over to the side of Apes Together Stronger, and O-Sphinx and Minty just got to free farm that bot lane there, getting a ton of plates as well. And this early game is a complete reversal from game one here. It's Apes Together Stronger looking better right now for themselves.
I think definitely an understatement here, Random Mini Caster. They're looking like a completely different team right now, getting priorities in these lanes, playing together, getting kills. It's like, and they're over, I believe, for the first time in the series, they're also up in gold as well. So, Apes Together Stronger? Yeah, yes they are. And they're proving that with every one of these turns.
Yeah, they are definitely evolving here. We're seeing the really early executioners calling for Entropy here. It's pretty much his first item coming out, first major item. I'm not going to count that call that came out once again for Entropy. And that means that signals to me that they want to match up against Minty now. They're not going to lane swap again, I don't think. It didn't work that well for them the first time. And I think, now that I think about it, the lane swap was also probably to get Herald priority there because the Dragon was already down. So they want to get Herald priority with numbers. It didn't work out for them. They didn't get Herald. And now I think rather than just letting Trustius die alone, they're just going to swap it out, face against Soraka with the Executioner's calling, cut a lot of the healing, and try and bully out this bot lane here instead.
They're doing pretty well for themselves as a Dark Friday mission for the second time right now, and the Soraka is putting in work, I might add. Because I was gonna say it's like it makes sense if they tried to go for just a lane swap for macro plays, but against the Shen, like I think you should be fine. He's also prioritizing going for the tank first, which makes sense. You definitely want to be able to have a bit more stats, especially in these team fights. Go for the Sunfire Cape on both sides though, but Blink is here. Ragnarok is already popped, and I see Seed to absolute nuts here. And that's a pretty easy double kill coming out for Blink. With the stun, the undertow, and the enchanted crystal arrow, going back and forth, easy kill. But we do see Sean's Beard goes in, dives in, takes down Nosy Kitten Kisser. Look at that, and he goes ahead and gets himself onto the board. That is a 3-for-0 for Apes Together Stronger.
And I'm loving what I'm seeing coming out from Apes Together Stronger here. I like the adaptation to give Sean's Beard something stronger in the early game, and it's paying massive dividends. Binks on this Olaf as well. He's now 4-1-1. In terms of gold, that translates to 1,600, and that in turn means almost half a completed item in advance. He's managed to pick his team up the two most powerful solo Drakes, Inferno and Ocean as well. So everything right now is going Apes' way, and they are just in such a strong position here. I did say I think Beat the Dream has the stronger late game composition, but I'm not confident that they'll be able to reach that stage of the game here.
Looking at these two games right now, Mini Caster, it could definitely be the Olaf diff coming out for them, because Olaf last game for Nosy Kid did a stupid amount of work, and right now as well, Olaf coming in for Blink 2, already 4-1, putting so much pressure on these lanes and picking up these neutral objectives, has been working out so well for themselves.
For sure. And for the side of Feed the Dream, though, they're certainly not out of the running by any means here. Yes, they are down about 2,000 gold, but if you look at the individual lanes, their lanes are actually faring pretty decently here. They are losing global objectives all across the map. We just saw Herald getting picked up once again by Apes. But when you look into the individual lanes, Entropy's doing fine in CS. Mid lane, Travel Pan's getting a small lead as well. Top side, Trustiest Karma isn't falling behind, and he's on a tank, so falling behind would not be too big a deal either, but a fight breaking on the bot lane.
But Chatter Closer Arrow goes ahead and lands onto 2, with that Sphinx will live for a little bit longer as Depression gets the shield onto her. But what will Auto actually do? She's so low, but it's gonna be a 4, but it's gonna be 5v2 Fiesta out of the bottom, and Sean's Beard misses the little moon crescendo, and just like that, Entropy Persona should go ahead and get out, but because that Rift Herald, that should be bot tower going down.
Yeah, and I mean that is going to be first turret going the way of Apes right now. There's really nothing they can do. I actually like the fact that they didn't send anyone down initially, but the fact that they do now means that they have to win the fight or they lose out.
Single one goes ahead and once more as Diana Altis pop goes and stun onto almost 3 pulls her in, but she does not have the damage though. Nosy Kid goes to get the shutdown onto her. Ragnar coming out, the undertow takes down Entropy, and he is unstoppable once, but does not want to stop for more. Nice flash here by Depression. Sad no longer found his mojo out of his room and under the tower into the fire, getting the second kill for himself.
Hirano has to be careful. He's playing with fire here. He's really low. So is Travel Pan. And that kind of going in and out is very, very risky and might cost them a lot. It certainly did cost them Nosy Kitten Kisser as well in that fight. And I mean, the advantages just keep snowballing for Apes Together Stronger. They know how to play from a lead, it looks like, because they're not letting off that gas pedal. They just keep accelerating the pace of the game. That being said, Trust is getting that top lane turret is good for him as well, because the faster he can scale up to that unkillable tank, the better, and the more sort of margin of error he gives his team by becoming an unkillable tank. So right now, their hopes are entrusted to Trustiest Karma.
Definitely is right now, as you do go ahead and see. Just the overall goal lead as well has honestly fallen too far behind themselves, but they are looking a lot better at this game. The vision score, sorry, not necessarily the score right now, but just looking at the overall vision, like you can see, is definitely in the favor for, coming in for. I'll lose my words here, Mini Caster.
Sir, I'm talking red side or blue side?
I'm not gonna red side.
It doesn't matter if I broke out.
Yeah, because like I completely couldn't focus at all as I saw the Diana just coming in right into the middle, just like, what's she gonna go for? Because but that was an easy pickup there, because you saw Apes Star together, man. They've been moving in on all of these ganks as at the 3 or 4 or 5. None have them been caught alone, and with this, they're being able to take over the game. So for Feed the Dream, that vision score is looking good, because I think you guys just remembered. Pat on the back for myself. They have almost complete control of onto that bot side, but in terms of the kills right now and the overall neutral objectives, it is a tower score 2-2. But the first Rift Herald and the first 2 dragons have already gone over on Apes Strong together, and nothing can necessarily really even tear them apart. If you look
and their strength is together strong. You're seeing them roam together as units of 4 or 5, and that's why they keep winning these fights, because on the side of Feed the Dream, they're trying to extend the laning phase. They want to try and catch as much gold as they can, but that's leaving them isolated, easy pickings. And that 2,000 gold lead has now grown to 3,000, as well as now a threat of that Mountain Drake going over yet again. And for the side of Feed the Dream, I don't think they can really contest this one very well. They would have to immediately burst down Sean's beard if they want to have a hope of winning this. And they do now spot out Trustius Karma in the area. It is a 4v5, but Stand United is available here.
Perfectly fine. As you see, the dragon is still up. No one has started just yet. Scatter the weak lens onto Blink 108, but Sean's beard wants to go in and go for more. Pops the ult. So is being put on. Blink 108 going and gets the kill on entry right away. But the shutdown comes in from Travel Pan. Let's see they go ahead and get more from such Trui's Karma. It's one of so much on the back end. But you see Sean's beard trying to get more though. Oh, and he goes ahead and gets just that. Gets a double kill for himself, and Karma goes out on the back end too. And just like that, that makes it a 3-for-1 for Apes Stronger together, and a Dragon as well, putting them on sole point.
And with that fight being done there, that tells you that Feed the Dream has no hope of winning any 5v5 right now. Their hope of coming back into the game is basically Apes Stronger together, making a mistake, separating and getting picks. That's it. But the problem is they're unlikely to get that because Apes Together Stronger have shown this propensity to just group up, and they don't want to sort of isolate themselves. They're only letting Depressed Shen sort of split up. He's the only one who's allowed to do that. Everybody else grouped up all the time. So where are you going to find your picks? If you can't find your picks, you can't find kills, and they're having problems guarding their turrets for now. We also saw the strength of a Soraka in the team fights. If you can't kill Minty, you can't kill anybody else either, because Minty can just keep tossing heals out, keeping everybody topped up. The Executioner's Calling was a great pickup for Entropy, but even that's not enough at this point in the game. Minty's just putting out way too much healing with the Athene's Unholy Grail there as well. So right now, Feed the Dream are on the back foot. They have to play reactively. There's not much they can do. They need to reset the vision, like you said, because if not, they'll be the ones getting caught, and hope and pray that somebody on the side of Apes Together Stronger just basically gets caught on their own and they can collapse and kill that person.
So first, like, Apes Together Stronger have took their name into heart, and they are generally moving as completely one unit. Not one of necessarily being able to be caught out at this point. But I did want to mention about Karma too in that team fight. He was up on the side and pretty much got picked off in a bush as he goes ahead and lands the grass. So much damage onto Pro, taking it almost immediately. Oh my god, the crit was absolutely insane. I see him staying out throughout the entire fight. Travel Pan be able to get one for himself onto the Diana, but will it make an absolute difference? Entropy kiting back as much as he can, though. Trui's Karma up to the front line. They want to go ahead and get out of this, but Slow comes in. Oh, nice little scatter of the week. Although he gets taken down, he gives Entropy the chance to go ahead and get back into the game. A 2-for-3 overall for Apes Stronger together, and that should be Rift Herald.
And my question is, why did they even pick that fight? Pirano went in so early that he just got bursted down. Didn't even have time to hit the button on his Zhonya's there. The idea was there, but the rest of the team wasn't quite ready. They should have let Trustius engage that one instead. And Trustius was so tanky. He tanked up everybody for a good 1 or 2 seconds there because Pirano was already dead. And you can see he was still alive after that. That being said, the fact that Sean's beard went down was the reason why Entropy and Travel Pan almost got out alive. Really aggressive flash in from Minty there to pick up Travel Pan. I think it's worth it. I'd trade support for mid lane any day of the week. And now it looks like Apes getting the last hurt. Are they going to protect Shelly? No, they're just going to let Shelly die.
No, yeah, definitely isn't worth it because you see Depression is by himself. You know, it's like, and the last thing that Depression wants to do is go ahead and suffer alone. Because, you know, Depression gets better by staying stronger. But with that being said, though, is it because Apes are together, I want to go ahead and follow that mantra of being and moving as one unit, and they definitely are sticking to that, though. Because as you mentioned there, Random Caster, that's going to be the way for that's going to be the way for Feed the Dream to try to get back in this game, is going to catching somebody out and finding some leads for themselves, but not being able to do that. Sean's beard goes and dives onto 2. Zhonya is popped though. Right, Entropy goes and pops the Soul Shackles. So much thing being put out. Oh, but just a couple more autos would have done it. Ignite taken him down, and I believe that should be pretty much the disengage for both sides. Because see, even when they're fighting alone, they're fighting together because they know that with the Stand United being up, it should be okay.
I'm not sure if you're a football fan, but Liverpool's mantra is you never walk alone. And that is precisely the thing with the Apes right now. They always have depression there in their back pocket. You think Sean's Beard went in alone. Well, guess what? He actually had a ninja squirreled away somewhere out of sight, and depression coming back in. It was a great kill attempt by Sean's Beard, and even better return, though, from the sides of Feed the Dream.
See, Enchanted Crystal Arrow outlocks Travel Pen, and he will no longer be in as well with, and he'll no longer be up in the fountain for us. Unfortunately, no, but he'll be back in just a couple 30 more seconds. But that's still a 4v5 right now coming in for Feed the Dream. But what more will they be able to feed? As you see, Nosy Kisser trying to go in for some sort of slow, but can't lock up anybody at all as Ragnarok as Pop just trying to get out of all the CC, going onto the Olaf, dives onto Preno, and just like that, he's taken down two back to the fountain for him to joining his other teammates. Unfortunately, right, but Travel Patch should be back in a couple of seconds. But you see right now, Apes together consistently being able to layer the CCs and run the team of Feed the Dream down. They really have no answer for it at this point.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for Feed the Dream, especially since their vision control keeps getting cut out there. You saw Trustius, basically, they came out of Fog of War at Trustius. He did not know they were coming at him for a second there. Thankfully, he's the tankiest member. He can stay alive. But without that vision, that Enchanted Crystal Arrow is becoming a huge problem for them. It's coming out of Fog of War. Travel Pan, basically, the first thing he knew was he turned a corner and there was a huge arrow in his face. And that's how he ended up going down there. Good for them, though. They are able to, for now, at least try and zone out a little bit. It has been a while since Apes Together Stronger did manage to go back to base. They are still pretty healthy, thanks to Soraka, thanks to Minty there. But they are hesitant to pull this trigger for now. And Stand United, again, it's already available here. So they might look to start this one up.
Be fine right now overall, as you see. But Feed the Dream needs to get this dragon. They cannot give over the soul. So might be finding all the coffins. Speaking of coffins, though, which is what Blaze got put into as a shutdown lands onto him from Sean's Beard. But both sides for trading kills right now. A double kill coming in for Entropy as he put on so much damage in the back line, completely untouched. No one can get onto him with the Olaf being down. No one can touch him as he goes ahead and goes for the triple. Stand United pop, but what more will it do? The shield trying to save his teammates, but the re-engage comes through his karma and goes and gets the quadra kill for himself. Can he go ahead and give the Penta? Get the Penta, give him the Penta, come on. Give it to him, he needs it, he wants it, he deserves an ace in the hole and pop. Ooh! Then for a little bit longer, but that should be Minty just barely being able to get out alive. Will he? No. Come on, Karma should go ahead and finish him off. As he won.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, finally, after running back and for the shutdown comes in for Entropy. And can I say that's the unofficial Penta? Unofficial Penta, I'd say.
I mean, that was one hell of a fight, and Entropy just dancing with danger there. Just one more auto needed to kill him, and Minty as well, buying so much time that his entire team is back up. So the Dragon, despite Entropy and Trustius kind of winning that fight, they don't get the Dragon at the end of the day. Feed the Dream gets the kill, gets the unofficial Penta, doesn't get the Dragon, and I'm personally not sure that one's necessarily worth in terms of trades. That being said, though, it's a great sign that Feed the Dream won that fight, because that is how they come back into the game. Slowly, bit by bit, methodically. And I think a partial miscommunication there. We saw Stand United come down onto Sean's Beard rather than onto Binks there. And Binks was super fast.
See, as you see, the smite goes down already onto the Dragon. They go ahead and take his soul point tonight for themselves, but it does not matter. It's two already down for the side of for the side of Apes, for the side of Feed the Dream. Make that a 3 for the side. Make the 3 down for the side of Apes stronger together. And although they got the Dragon, was it worth it? Because it looked like it could be Baron coming out for Apes stronger together.
And I feel the need to clarify myself now, because I said that getting the Dragon was important, but not at the expense of 3 members when Baron is up. Because as you said, they're going to run right over to Baron Raven. That's probably going to belong to Apes stronger together here. Feed the Dream. No one's even close to taking it. Nosy Kitten dead means no smite available either. And while it looked like there was a hope for a second there of a dream of coming back, with Baron now firmly on the side of Apes together stronger, I mean, rather than worrying about a comeback, Feed the Dream needs to worry about surviving the next couple of minutes.
They most definitely do. You know, they did definitely go ahead and feed that dream, but only with a short appetizer, and unfortunately the appetizer, although as they were taking just a couple bites of it, and almost as it got snatched back for them, and they said, you know what, you don't get this until you go ahead and get a couple more kills. But still, they do survive for another day. It'll be just a small little disengage coming out from both sides as they want to go ahead and get priority in all of these lanes. As you see right now, that Feed the Dream just firing from these side lanes. Trusty's Karma onto the bot side. But how long will these towers live is the question. Because you see the Apes Stronger together are knocking on the doors of the base almost of Feed the Dream.
Yeah, and they have nobody who can really deal with Depression in this top side. They're sending Trustius there, but I'm not sure he can hold against Depression, and I don't think he can even clear the Siege Minion. Mid lane, they're already having enough problems here as well. We might see an engage come out from Sean's Beard or Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And for Feed the Dream, I already said the way they win the fights is they need to kill Sean's Beard and Binks, but the problem is they need to kill both of them, and they don't have enough damage. As it is, Sean's Beard has been able to constantly survive the engage, and as soon as that Moonfall comes down with Conquerors, he just heals back up for a ton of damage there.
Obviously massive for themselves though, but I believe Karma is what comes in just trying to stop Blink as much as they can, trying to go for any sort of lock, any sort of CC or root, just so he just cannot get onto Entropy. They need to focus around him at this point. He does almost have 3 items here coming out for himself and putting out a massive amount of crits. So this Caitlyn staying alive is definitely key. Because look at that crit though on Sean's Beard, already taken down to half. That was sick.
But the problem is the heals that come right back out take him from half to almost full. So it's a question of a headshot which comes once in a while, but the engage here.
But does it matter though? Because lands already onto Lou Black Shield. Gonna be a little bit too late, and Travel Pan already down though. Can anybody stop this? Olaf, can anybody take it? Sean's Beard takes a nosy kisser as well. The two who you said need to be stopped are doing so much work here. Mini Caster that's already that's a 2 for nothing coming out for Mini Strong together, and they're knocking at the nexus of Feed the Dream. Can they keep this dream alive for a little bit longer? The Baron Maniacs are taking down this tower. They are fighting a 3v4 almost. Ooh, but that does not matter as Pereno gets taken out yet again. But a shutdown coming in for Entropy, but still can only do that to pad his KDA. And just like that, Apes Stronger together go ahead and get game number 2. Sign the series 1-1.
Great game to hear from Apes together, stronger. And in the picks and bans, we already talked about how strong that Olaf is. You put the shields, you put the heals, he's basically unstoppable. He becomes a juggernaut, and Apes together stronger executed perfectly on that. 11-4-10 is the final kill score here for Binks. An absolute monster. There was just literally nothing the composition of Feed the Dream could do. The pillar is only good in choke points against Olaf here. Besides that, they literally had nothing, and they just could not get enough damage down against the healing, against the shields. That last fight we saw under the turret where they just dove right past, they got the Stand United down onto Binks. Depression got interrupted, but the important component there isn't Depression showing up. It's the shield he puts down, which was absolutely massive, and that just allowed Binks to run amok into the backline. Sean's Beard as well in this game. He's only 6-4-14, but what that doesn't show is the damage he did. He was the highest damage on his team, 25,000. Binks did 21,500 for comparison here. So you give Sean's Beard an alternate threat, and suddenly Feed the Dream has a problem. Who do we kill, Sean's Beard or Binks? Answer is they need to kill both, and they just did not have enough damage.
Absolutely not, though, and I still will go ahead and stick to my point by saying that it is definitely the Olaf diff. The last game with the Olaf doing so much work, in this one too, just trading off on either side. Because I think the only way to either stop it is either you go ahead and pick it up, or you just go ahead and ban it. Just like the York in that last game, it needs to be banned away. So because I'm excited to see is Olaf isn't there, what will go ahead and come out for both of these teams. But with that being said, it is 1-1 right now for Apes together stronger and Feed the Dream. This game is only turning up more and more, so you don't want to miss it. We'll be right back after a very short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blue people and toys watching who just came alive. I'm Ravishing Gravis, the most ravishing man on the internet, joined here yet again by Random Meeting Caster, and we're already into game 3 of Feed the Dream versus versus Apes together, stronger. And oh man, oh man, oh man, these two games have been so different but so beautiful in their own rights here, Minicaster.
Yeah, we'll get the name right eventually. Apes Together Stronger, long one there, mouthful. But yeah,
Did I
this
not
series
say
has
it?
been amazing so far, so back and forth. And I was just wondering if they're gonna let the Olaf through for Feed the Dream this time, because Feed the Dream is blue side, and that Olaf diff has really been an issue. So we'll have to see if Apes Together Stronger decide to ban it there for their last ban, and they do.
100%. Do you see, like you said before, your minicaster was the only way to counter a champion is just to ban him.
Yeah, but there's a cost for that because now a lot of things are on that table. That Yorick for Trustiest Karma now is also available. The Ezreal, which has been banned out this entire series, also now available for Entropy here. I'm not sure if he favors the Ezreal more than the Caitlyn necessarily, but it is an option here. We might see it instead. They're going to deny the Shen from Depression.
Ooh, man, that Shen came in absolutely huge there last time for the Apes, right? Especially being able to like gain dominance top lane, get that global presence, and quite frankly, quite a few of those plays and picks, especially in the late game, came in from those Shen flashes and dashes. Should be pretty strong though, but in response, still Apes decide they want to go ahead and stick with the Soraka, but will they go ahead and take the Caitlyn or will they take the MF like we've seen them do before?
Yeah, either of those picks I think would be fine. If I were in the shoes of Apes Together Stronger, I'd probably favor a more scaling ADC. The MF is a little bit risky unless they go with a jungler that can set up for them. Instead, it looks like both teams just sniping away picks. Seansbeard going to snipe the Syndra away from Travel Pan this time.
Oh man, there's a deciding man. You know what? You want your comp? Well, so do we. Give me that.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
want that Cinder.
to be fair, Syndra is a pickup that a lot of mid laners learn because it's such a versatile champion. So it's not like Seansbeard doesn't play Syndra. He does. And it's really, really solid pickup here. So that now changes things a lot for Apes Together Stronger here. They're not necessarily going to have the same sort of team fight they had with that Diana with the Moonfall here. Instead, they traded for more pick and burst potential here.
But also speaking of potential too, we also got the Ezreal coming in. Now the Ezreal was banned in the first two games there for free, for Feed the Dream. So we did finally see it finally come in. Ezreal, I think, is a super strong, really blind pick overall, really good in the meta in general too, and scales really, really well. So I like it a lot. And we get the Mumu as well. The Mumu was also banned in the first game. So having a tank in the jungle, we'll see what kind of build he goes for. Because so far I'm seeing no AP on the side. I'll feed the dream. So if we see a bank, so if we see like an AP tank burst type of Mumu, oh, that's gonna be hype.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an option here, especially if Peruano decides to go something tanky and support. We might actually see that AP Mumu come out. And right now, Beat the Dream has the basis, the bones of a potentially really strong AOE composition, and I think that's why we're seeing the Oriana band come out from Apes Together Stronger here.
Yeah, the Oriana, I think just like the overall really solid scaling pick that you can go ahead and really pick into the Syndra to especially I find that being able to go into the Oriana with the Syndra both do need almost the same amount of time to go ahead and scale. Although Oriana not necessarily just a burst type champ like Syndra is. If she can go ahead and bait out that scatter the weak, she should be able to win out on this like win out on those trades and the harasses from Oriana past six when she gets the last chapter from her ball really hurt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely something they don't want to give over to what already looks like a scary composition forming up for team fights here. So I'm very interested to see
Oh,
what they get for Travel Pan instead.
but we do see. Speaking of scary team fights, right around the mini caster, they got we have a Jinx coming in. Now, Jinx overall, in my opinion, is probably one of the most balanced champions, right? Because she could be down 0-2, but you go ahead and give her a kill, and suddenly she's winning a lane. So really balanced in my opinion overall, like doing really well for herself. But definitely much more of those, definitely much more of the starve or feed type ADCs early on. That she's not gonna be able to do much. Extremely mana hungry too. Really when she uses her rockets and to go ahead and land her electrocute pokes.
Yeah,
Like
and I mean, to a certain extent, it is sort of a safer pick right now because they do already see the Ezreal come out for Feed the Dream. So they know that Feed the Dream doesn't have that abusive, punishing Caitlyn in that bot lane to punish the Jinx pick early. Will give Jinx a bit of time to scale. Oathwings will get that time, especially with the Soraka. And Feed the Dream here. I don't know about this to go into the Jinx, the Lux and Mordekaiser here.
oh man, I haven't seen a Lux since like 2016, man. It's that's absolutely bad, but it's gotta be great. But the response from that will be the Ram is coming out for them. Is it's like it's so Ram is too like the Amumu. Um, it's also just one of those secretly like underrated picks. They can both get extremely tanky, especially as they go later on into the game. But whereas a Mumu, you know, has the lockdown potential with the ultimate on almost the entire team, the Rammus has huge amounts of pick potential, being able to get single toilet lockdown, tons of CC, and with the Tremors putting all the focus onto him, should be a lot of fun.
But I'm a little concerned about how this Rammus pick is going to work into both of these compositions here. I mean, for the sides of Ape together stronger, sure, it gives that single target peel. It gives the really good initiation actually with that power ball as well. But my issue is who's he going to taunt on the side of Feed the Dream? He's not. He might not even be able to reach entropy at all on that Ezreal. Yes, Arcane Shift got nerfed the last patch. Additional, I believe it was 2 seconds on the cooldown of Arcane Shift. But even with that 2 seconds, it's not going to make a difference. So who's he going to taunt instead? Mordekaiser? Mordekaiser is going to just Death Realm a different target, and suddenly the taunt doesn't matter. Lux is going to be way back with Ezreal as well. So you're looking at either Shen or a Mumu, neither of which particularly care about a taunt. You want to taunt Shen? Well, he's got an even longer taunt in his arsenal to try and match Rammus. So I'm a bit not sure how this Rammus is going to fit into the composition necessarily for both teams, but maybe it's just that single target peel, perhaps trying to keep Jinx safe, maybe.
Rams will fit in like the Olaf does, especially in these team fights when you want to just go ahead and run down an opponent. The Olaf did it when he lands the undertow and pops Ragnarok, and the Rams will do that as he becomes essentially just the fastest Blade on Earth and locks that one target, getting probably the taunt onto maybe a couple, and lands the Tremors out too. So putting all the focus onto him, meanwhile the Jinx need Lowy, or even the Cinder on the back and can go ahead and put out just oodles and poodles of damage, which is how I really kind of see him fitting into that lane, taking over the role for that Olaf. Just run people down. Just do it. This is NASCAR.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if he does actually manage to get enough damage to make that sort of backline diving access flanking maybe sort of work because he will need quite a bit of damage to be able to find his targets. And for Feed the Dream, what I'm concerned for them about is trying to reach Osphinx on the Jinx here come the late game. It might be a little sketchy trying to reach. I assume we are going to see the QSS tax being paid by Osphinx. So that means travel pan on the Mordekaiser probably not going to be able to just isolate Osphinx in that 1v1. And then the question becomes who's going to reach him? Is Trustiest Karma on the Shen gonna be able to? Is the taunt range sufficient to reach Osphinx? And even if he does, will it be enough to survive the damage that can come out of a late game Jinx? The only other option I'm seeing here is maybe Peruano on the Lux, able to just sort of shoot through everybody here. You can't body block the Luminescence, the E there, as well as the ultimate. So maybe that's a thing, but it's going to come down to Feed the Dream trying to kill Osphinx here. And it's going to be really hard with that Rammus, with that Soraka. And because of that, I think coming out of draft, aside from the Rammus, Apes Together Stronger actually won the draft pace here again.
Yeah, right now too, they're looking really strong for themselves, especially with just in the overall engage and the team fight. But let's go ahead and talk about this 5v5 that we have coming out from both sides. We have Free the Dream with the Shen, the Amumu, and even the Mordekaiser and the Lux lockdown. So offering a lot of stun, a lot of CC, and just at a pretty fair amount of engage potential for themselves, and maybe even a bit of pick potential too, because with the Lux lockdown and the Mordekaiser taking into the death realm could be pretty strong depending on how they do overall. But on the side of Apes Together Stronger. What are we looking at here?
I mean, for the mid game, I think that's where Feed the Dream will have a chance to sort of really shine. A Mumu level 6 through about 13, 14 there is when he's really, really damaging. If he goes at AP Mumu, especially, we could see him actually burst down Minty and O-Sphinx right off the initiate, maybe even catch Sean's Beard into the bargain as well. So that potentially could be something. Or if he goes tank instead, then maybe they're looking for catches here, the bandage toss into the binding, into Mordekaiser's claw there. You can basically chain the CCs for days here. Everybody having CC except for Entropy on the Ezreal there. So that to me is what I think they're going to be looking for, that mid game. And if it comes to the late game, then I don't think they win team fights at that point. It just will come down to whether Entropy can mechanically outplay and stay alive, putting out damage in late game team fights. As for Apes Together Stronger, I mean, this is basically a variation of what they did last game here. So, I mean, Soraka is going to be key for Apes Together Stronger, as well as O-Sphinx. O-Sphinx naturally being the primary target. Keep O-Sphinx alive and he'll win you fights. The secondary is keep Minty alive and he'll keep O-Sphinx alive. So a lot of targets that Feed the Dream will sort of have to work downwards through to try stop Apes Together Stronger from winning these fights. Extended goes Apes way. Short bursts, that's going to be Feed the Dream's win condition here for team fights.
Well, yeah, most definitely too. But also speaking about damage as well, of course, overall for Feed the Dream, I am worried a little bit about that coming out from them because with the Mumu, depending on what kind of build he goes, Lux can put out a small bit of burst damage, but in these team fights too, just the consistent has to come from the Ezreal. And if the Ezreal isn't necessarily being able to get taken off the ground, although he can stay quite safe, but if he does go ahead and get caught, especially early in the team fight, let's say by the Jinx or by the Rammus or even by the Syndra, in my opinion, that could mean a lot of trouble here for Feed the Dream. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm already very concerned about the draft here from Feed the Dream, especially because there's just so many issues they're going to have to work through here. As mentioned in chat by Lexi-chan, there's a lot of AP damage here on Feed the Dream side. They don't have a ton of AD damage, and that's quite concerning, honestly. But then again, it always comes down to this Rammus pick for Apes Together Stronger right now. It's hard for me to move my attention away from it because it's sticking out like a sore thumb right now. And AP damage coming out of Feed the Dream. Apes comes back with Rammus. That's your armor tank. That's not a magic resistance tank. So while I'm concerned about the lack of AD damage from Feed the Team, it kind of works into the Rammus specifically for Apes Together Stronger.
Yeah, I would have thought that maybe they would came back with maybe just even like a Sejuani even would have been perfectly fine. Would have been really strong too. She's got a couple buffs recently. Has really strong CC. Really good lockdown overall. Not the greatest clear in general, but it's like especially as you go into the mid and late game, it can definitely be a threat for being able to pick anybody off and fighting. But it's like even and if you wanted to go for the carry style, it's like you also had a lot more options because even though Olaf was taken away, like heck, like there's a Jack, there's a Pantheon, offering these offering these overall semi global ultimates with the Pantheon, even with a Nocturne
Yeah,
would have been a
Nosy
solid idea.
actually does play Nocturne, so that was an option here for Feed the Dream. So I mean, like I said, I think the Amumu was a solid pick. I just kind of don't think it works with this particular composition here. They had a solid sort of AoE composition initially, but the Mordekaiser and Lux just don't fit that idea of a team fight composition, and it's weird. Instead, a bit of a long shot here, but what I'm suspecting is going to happen, irrelevant of the compositions here, is that we're going to see Binks basically pop off the early game with the Rammus. He's going to go Powerball into the lanes. He's going to try and get Sean's Beard and Depression really snowballing here because both of them has shown that they can really carry a game, win their lanes a little bit. And I think that's how Apes is going to play. Get that gank squad rolling once again. And from there, get O-Sphinx fed on kills. As to Feed the Dream, I think they're going to look for the extended laning phase once again, in which actually I don't think is great for them, but I think that's what they're going to try and do, and maybe then try and let. Actually, it's looking like a support Shen potentially and a Lux mid.
So this either way, still really solid pick overall. The Shen still offering a lot of utility, and the Lex going into Syndra, I think is a pretty solid uh I probably saw a lane two for both sides. It really will depend on how strong just the Lux can get, or whether or not she has to go. Whether or not she decides to go ahead and roam onto the bot side. A bit. Also, a quick note up on the top side too. That Mordekaiser is a soft counter to the Alawi, just in general, but it does come down to really a skill matchup. Who can definitely out heal too, or who's really able to put out the burst. Like first, either Mordekaiser with his ult and his passive, or Ilawi, being able to get the ult down though first. But the Ilawi does pop her ult, and then Mordekaiser waits to bait that out, and then pops his death realm. The tentacles do not follow. The tentacles don't fall allow into the breath, so that's a huge amount of damage and healing already taken out of it. So it could definitely, just be a bit detrimental for the 1v1. But with that being said, though, we will go ahead and wait for the we will go ahead and wait for the spectator delay to go ahead and load up for ourselves. This is game 3 right now, the final game between Fear the Dream and Eight Stronger together. Both teams have won a side. Both teams have looked extremely dominant in both of their games. So this will be the answer to the question: which of these teams will go ahead and take the cake and have it too? We'll be right back. Welcome back yet again, everybody, to Wizard Esports' game number 3 for Free the Dream versus Apes. Together, stronger. I'm yet again ravaging the most ravaging man on the internet. Joined here by, of course, the Random Mania caster. And this game 3 should be a spicy one. Look at these comps, the builds, the lanes here, Random Mania caster.
Yeah, everything about them is spicy. In the last second swap, there is going to be a Shen support, Lux mid, and Mordekaiser top here for the side of Feed the Dream. And that changes everything here because now all of a sudden the lane assignments for Feed the Dream is actually really, really strong. Like you mentioned, Rav, in that top lane, Mordekaiser counters allow you to quite an extent here. In the mid lane as well, Lux able to outrange the Syndra means that Travel Pan has technically on paper favorable matchup as long as he can dodge the orbs there. And in the bot lane, having Shen is going to be huge because that's going to allow them that sort of flash taunt engage onto Minty and O-Sphinx. And if you can get an engage onto both those squishy targets, well, that's a feast here for any ganker who wants to drop by, whether it be mid, top, or jungle.
Indeed, you see Blinky is hungry and he wants this. You could say he even wants to feed the dream here. Right, Minicaster, cool. I am going to be out. That has been all for me.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he doesn't actually feed the dream here, because that would be pretty rough. But for Binks, he's probably the only person whose game plan doesn't change because of these lane reassignments. He's still going to be that whirling metal ball of death, looking to get ganks off all over the place here. That's his role, and he's going to stick to it here. So I am still looking at Binks to be the one to make motions in the early game happen.
So as you see both junglers, already a nice little taunt onto O-Sphinx, starting off level 1, spicy and hot. The power of the Shen clearly really showing as he's already at half.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge. If they get level 2 first, we might actually see an all-in from the side of Feed the Dream because there's no heal for Minty yet. So they kind of need to punish this because the moment Minty gets a heal, all that damage on O-Sphinx is going to just go bye-bye right away.
That's a told that you don't want to say a bye-bye to. You want to go ahead and say bye-bye a lot of things, but not just that. Damage, whether they definitely want to go ahead and lead in this game as Prano's taking down a half himself. Man, Minty with the poke has been coming really super clutch. The end with the heals coming out for him. Even though all that harassment was given right into level 1, he's walking out perfectly fine, and so is those things.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Peruano just missed his level 2 taunt. As soon as he hit it, he went for the taunt, missed it, and now you're going to see Entropy and Peruano have to sort of take the back foot for the next little while. They need to get the poke, they need to get the taunts onto Minty instead of O-Sphinx. It doesn't matter how low O-Sphinx health looks at this point. That's bait. That's 100% bait. You just need to watch Minty's health in the bot lane instead.
So let's go ahead and see right now how it's looking overall. Top of the system seem pretty standard. We see Blinking pathing up to the top side. Curious Karma is chilling in lane. Okay, let's see. He gets to go ahead and gets the taunts off. Lands the aftershock proc, and Karma's fine.
Yeah, just went up top, showed his face, called it a day. Unfortunately, Depression not in position to follow up. The minion wave was pushed up actually really, really far. And Trustius, his spider senses were tingling. He backed off a bit early, so Binks couldn't quite get the position. But he already did so much damage and forced a back out of Trustius. That's a win in the books here of Apes together stronger for now. And Binks immediately looking for the mid lane.
We'll see, man. We saw this yet again before from him. He wants these gangs. He's hungry for them. In fact, as a Zac in that first game, he didn't stop giving them out, so much so he actually starved himself off that farm, but does get spotted out by the ward and decides to just casually pass through and just say, don't mind me, sir, just passing through, taking the short path to life. But Nosy Kitten lands the bandage onto Minion and we'll have to back up.
Yeah, Nosy Kitten getting booped there a little bit. Not able to find anything for now. Did not want to aggressively flash bandage toss. So both junglers coming up a little empty on their ganks. But Nosy Kitten up about 2 camps here, despite that Phil gank bot lane. So he's in a really, really good position compared to Binks. And you referenced game 1, and that's a little bit concerning here if you're Apes together stronger, because game 1 did not go well for Binks. And it started this way with him falling behind in levels, and hopefully that doesn't happen again with this Rammus, because that would be bad for them.
I mean, I want to go ahead and hope for that, as both of these teams have been playing absolutely beautifully. You know, like Feed the Dream game 1, Apes to get a stronger game 2, looking absolutely beautiful for themselves, as Entropy just barely misses that little combo and follow off of the Essence Flux. So like, and Overall, what I like though is the Entropy taking a much more of the aggressive stance in game. You know, whoa, but speaking of aggressive stances, Menti locks up. One more auto should do it, ignites, take him down, and the first blood going over to Pereno.
And both these teams right now feeling so baity here. They baited us in draft. They're baiting each other in lane right now. They were trying to let O-Sphinx keep his health low to sort of bait something out. Instead, it was actually the bait back from Entropy. He does have to burn Flash, but it allowed Perueno to finally get that engage that taunt he was looking on onto Minty. And that will also give them priority, and they pick themselves up the first Drake as well.
Yeah, look at that. Just getting a bit of random priority, getting the first backs off two, and getting the first getting the first Drake as well already. You know, already Dream is looking a little bit better for that first game, especially since the early game going a bit more into their favor. But definitely Apes are not out of it yet. They need to go ahead and take a safer position in lane. And honestly, they should be fine. Just farm, dudes. Just farm.
Yeah, and I think Entropy for the next little while, that's what he's planning. He's now built himself a very, very early tier at 6.5 minutes. Great for him with the cull as well. So he's just looking to farm for now. Stack the tier, stack the cull, and then try and accelerate the mid game as quick as he can.
Because, see, I do with the cull a lot, but I'll talk about it later as alt goes out. Auto Trusty is Karma. Taking into the death run, but already at half health, not able to do much. But Travel Pan comes in for the support, misses the pull, flashes out, doesn't get the bandage tossed, and Blink comes in to the rescue. A lot of resources wasted, honestly, for not much return.
Yeah, a little bit wasted there for Travel Pan. Luckily for him, Sean Spear doesn't actually crash this wave into his turret. He's going back to base. So Travel Pan just came out from base with the Lost Chapter. Won't miss too much from that teleport into the top lane. It's basically like he teleported mid lane, except that he lost 1 or 2 minions instead. The binding almost connecting on Depression. The flash was on point, and that was blind as well, but bot lane.
See, Aki goes ahead, gets the silence. But it should be perfectly fine for now, though. But he's getting so low, has to go and flash out. But bit of poke damage onto the Jinx, and everybody's walking out okay.
Yeah, a little risky there from Peruano. He ended up taking a lot of damage, and unfortunately for Shen, if you're support Shen, you don't actually get that much regeneration there. From your, I believe it's the Q there that you normally use to get sort of healing and sustain in lane. But as a support, you don't get that, unfortunately. And now they're in a bad position because they are vulnerable and they're low health.
See what they can go ahead and make out of it for themselves. As Blink wants this kill, he needs it. Lands the flash, huge taunt onto two. You know, just the Shandelby can keep the life for a little bit longer, and Super Mega Death Rocket, I should say, being okay. Lux ult gets them right onto the edge, and everybody walks through just fine. You know, goes ahead, shakes hands, shakes ultimates, and we're okay.
Yeah, and they ultimately shake it off there. They are going to be low, but Entropy just going to go back to base instead. Will be perfectly fine for now, and mid lane instead is where action's happening here.
We'll see what's going on as it happened. As you see, a Knight lands down, shield keeping travel pan line for a little bit longer, which we're talking about there in draft 2. And before we were talking about as well, that shield being able to come out should keep the Lux perfectly fine, or just a little bit healthy as the unleashed power is don't just burst down these laners. But Pareto lands a huge taunt onto two with also not Kid Kisser there as well. Massive ultimate, and that's to be a double kill coming in for him.
Yeah, that's huge there for Nosy Kitten Kisser. He was already up in terms of jungle camps, and now he's up in kills as well. That's going to be nice for him. And they kind of need to be that way because Feed the Dream is on a bit of a timer here. So they need to find advantages early. So it's great that they're finding themselves 3 kills right now. Finding themselves the Dragon this time as well is great, but they are going to lose the Herald in exchange. And generally, Herald versus Drake, a lot of teams do favor the early Herald instead.
Definitely do. Is it plus but being able to offer that pushing power, opening up the map and getting first turn cold feels really good, especially if you're either team right at this side, getting more control exactly what you want, and Blake goes ahead and picks it up.
And he's not satisfied with that. He's looking for a gank as well, but the ward just drops onto him there. A bit of a risky play, and Binks has been forcing a lot of ganks, none of them really panning out. I think he needs to focus a little bit on just sort of farming up here instead of that, and they are going to drop Herald topside.
Most definitely. Ours should go ahead and get the push onto it. I don't think it'll go ahead and finish it off right now, though, because it is to go and take 2 plates. But considering Trust Drew's karma is there, just go ahead and finish it off. Yeah, look at that. They're fine.
Yeah, so unfortunately, they don't get first turret. I'm not sure if it was a miscalculation from them or whether they were just trying to strip as many plates as they can, as fast as they can. And looking at the top lane, Depression bought a QSS, sub 10-minute QSS. It was his first purchase there. He's definitely aware of that interaction you mentioned about how Mordekaiser counters Alawi. So he's making sure that he pays that tax early.
He doesn't want that popping onto him at all, as already a fight going on onto the Dragon Pit. Blink taking down almost 2 seconds. Silas lands down onto 3 though, but Paredo's so low and so is Travel Pan. And just like that, although Drake is picked up here, but at what cost right now? Do you see all comes out here saving Sean's Beard's life, not getting Kisser, forcing the flash out of the Syndra, but caught up between rock and a hard place. Because so many people, Shen all coming in super duper clutch, keeping alive for a little bit longer, and everybody was go ahead and walk away. I believe that was a 2 for nothing, I believe.
I think it was a 2 for 1. Binks did go down trying to get the Dragon Steel away from Nosy Kitten Kisser there. So ultimately, still a win here for the side of Apes Together Stronger. And if you're Feed the Dream, you're loving Perueno right now. That man was ready for more punishment. He went down at the beginning of the fight, respawned, and instantly stand united right back into it to keep Nosy Kitten Kisser alive and help to prevent that fight from really going south. There could potentially have been a 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 instead of just that 1 for 2 that it was. And they did manage to get at least a Drake. Mountain Drake, not the most valuable if it's a single Drake, but hey, at least it's better than nothing.
So, and that does almost put them at sole point too, because those dragons have been a massive point of contention throughout all of these games, especially for both of these teams. Every single one of them get a sole point almost every time, and converted that at the Barons too. But we see Blunk up on the top side already. Depressed Shed popping the ult there, but the tentacle will not come through. He's taking so low. Couple more auto shots do it, and the QSS's pop barely gets out. Both junglers, you're trying to fight it up. As you see, oh, well, but Nosy Kitten getting a bit better than trade, and Blink has to turn into a Beyblade and run out.
Just Travel Pan still going.
No, I was going to say, yeah, Travel Pan wants to get something, but no, get something.
Yeah, this final spark actually came out in the midst of that, but bot lane.
Oh, huge flash stun, though, right onto 2. But won't get much out of it, though. Ezreal not super strong yet, and 2-shot barrage kind of being used to clear minions. Oh, barely missed the combo ultimately.
Did I miss a Q somewhere in this game? Fight just breaking out non-stop across the map. And both teams, it's as if they received some sort of trigger signal, and it hasn't stopped yet.
No, it has not. Those Sean's Beard landscape of the week onto Travel Pants. Unleash Power comes out. Ignite should go and take him down, but Shield just barely saving his life. No, it will not. The Ignite will still take him, but man, Nosy Kitten Kisser be the absolute carry of the game. 4 kills to himself. I think he's gonna go for the AP Amumu. Just his burst is looking more and more likely.
Yeah, he built the runic echoes here, so this is definitely gonna be that AP Amumu. I'm super hyped to see this because that is that nuclear bomb Amumu that we want to see with full stacks here. That ultimate has basically, I think it's a 0.8 ratio on Curse of the Sad Mummy, so it definitely scales up massive here into the mid game, and I think that fits Feed the Dreams sort of mode of operation here perfectly. They are on the timer. They need to make the plays mid game, so why not all in on that AP? Doesn't matter if you don't have the tanks if you kill everyone first. So I'm really enjoying that. We'll have to see if that works out. It's been working so far. He's 4-0 right now.
4-0, but speaking working out. Blitz wants to go ahead and get his gank workout though. Onto Pareda, goes golden for a couple more seconds. TP coming out. One Travel Pad lands a stun onto the Jace, gets rooted up and taken out. Lasco killed back down for the bot lane, and we do already see Entropy on the board.
Yeah, and that teleport for Travel Pan doing work right now, ganking top, ganking bot lane here. And I think it's throwing Apes for a bit of a loop because they were the ones who formed that roaming gank squad really early. And oh, that snipe!
Entropy to the final second, barely getting into that range onto Minty, getting a double kill for himself out of that. That was so close. I made you think he was fine, but no, I'm not. I'm sorry, sir. And this Azrael is looking scared and scared by the second, already has the mana meter for himself.
Yeah, that buzzer beater that came out the very last second to nail Minty. I guess that's why they banned the Ezreal. It's scarier than the Caitlyn for them. Definitely doing a lot of work. And, you know, we'll have to see what goes on because we did see Peruano go back to base. Entropy sitting on about 1,500 gold as well. Might want to go back and build that Sheen. He has no space in his inventory, though. So I'm wondering if he's going to wait for the call. No, he's just going to back. He's not going to wait to sell the call here. We'll have to see what he does or whether he just buys boots maybe instead.
Let's see the call coming out from Karma as well. Honestly, I do like the call a lot. It's like getting a 401k, you know? It's really just investing in your future for something better. And that's exactly what the Mordekaiser Ezreal want to do. They're investing in their future at a solid interest rate.
Yeah, and it's starting to pay huge dividends here, or will very, very shortly. Both the calls almost completed, and it is going to be Ocean Soul for the map here. And Ocean Soul, like we mentioned, I believe it was back in game one, is one of, if not the strongest soul for both teams here. So definitely expecting both teams to contest it. Depression is going to be in that top lane, but does not have teleport. So this might be the fight that Feed the Dream are looking to try and absolutely swing here.
See if they go ahead and do that right now. As you see, the dragon is already up, and it is currently started there by, currently by Feed the Dream. But we'll see if they have anything to do about it. As you see, both top laners fighting the top side, and just like that, you know what? And Ozikin Kisser takes with the drag. That puts them at soul point already.
Yeah, and this is a really, really accelerated pace of a game here right now. Soul potentially just after 20 minutes here, and that's going to put Apes together stronger, still tripping over the name, in a very awkward position where they've got to make a decision. Do they go for Baron or do they go for the Ocean Soul? Because while Baron is a very, very strong buff, the Ocean Soul is a permanent buff, which is huge. So they'll be sort of put in the position where they'll have to make a decision where they want to go, and that is going to give priority here to Feed the Dream. They're going to be able to play the better macro game, but that's still a couple of minutes away.
As the Lux all just barely landing onto Osming, but look at that heal coming out from Minty, already puts him back at full health. The Ocean Soul, if they do manage to go ahead and get it onto, just being able to go ahead and get it onto ATS, will look really, really good, and would make the heals coming out, out of the Soraka huge.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been doing a lot of work. This is why Minty's Soraka and his Yumis are dangerous, because when you give him that sort of supportish champion, but yes, be careful, he doesn't get nailed here.
No, but he just might, though, as he goes locks up under tower. Pran will go ahead and take up that kill, but after he wants to go ahead and get more, lands the Essence Flux, but will he go ahead and land the Arcane Shot? Yes, he will. One more auto will do it just like that. Up on the back end, it's a double kill for the bot side.
Yeah, and with that, Shen, you're never quite alone. Beautiful stand united at the last second. Unfortunately, Entropy does not have Peruano's back. Leaves him tacking that turret for a little bit.
Just absolutely so. As the ultras pop out of the top end, Lion wants to go ahead and stay alive for a little bit longer to get so much healing back for himself, but to his karma still has shield. Still has the shield, though, as the bot side tower does go ahead and go down. Oh, but he's in a bit of trouble, and the Unleashed Power lands him, gets the shutdown for Sean's Beer, looking him getting onto the board. I'm sorry, more so on the board. He's 3-1 right now. God damn.
Yeah, that Syndra. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's Travel Pan. Oh, but
but we'll see. Lands a nice, nice scat of the week, but it's still a Shen. He's doing okay. Has a bit of MR. Doesn't have the Unleashed Power. One more Dark Spear and should let him go away.
Yeah, that was really dicey for Peruano for a second there. Thankfully, the cooldown on Scatter of the Week at this point is about 10 seconds, so he was able to escape for now. And yeah, Sean Spirit really showing the Syndra strength, just like Travel Pan did. Syndra is still a very, very strong champion in general, and 3-1-1 for Sean's Beard. That's kind of par for the course. He is a very, very strong mid laner, and really the focus and sort of the soul of the mid game here for the side of Apes Together Stronger. That being said, Apes Together Stronger playing the macro well. They got themselves at least a turret to try and answer back, as well as both the Heralds so far. So they might be losing out on Drakes, but they're making up in other places.
Open the map for themselves a little bit more as Entropy just goes ahead and gets out, doing perfectly fine. But I just want to point out that that two-shot barrage just chunked out almost half of Spinx's health, and considering that Ezreal is almost online, has the ice board and almost the fully completed man immune, he's looking more and more scary.
Yeah, definitely. Even with the Iceborne, less damage than the Trinity Force, but still, it's doing a ton of work right now. And more importantly, it's slowing people down. You can't reach Entropy. But despite how Entropy is starting to look scarier and scarier, we've kind of forgotten the tentacled monster who's 0-0-0. Depression right now doesn't look scary because it's 0-0-0, but the fact that he's got 150 gold bounty despite having 0 kills, 0 assists, that's scary because he's been wrecking the top lane and just punishing Trustius here.
Caster Chris coming out of Depression. As we were just talking about him, we haven't seen him much. You've seen him get taken down those 0-0-0 to the 0-1-0. Why'd you have to do it to him, Mini Caster? Why'd you do it? He was doing fine.
I just wanted to draw some attention to the lonely top laners there, so they're not on an island, but unfortunately that cost them.
Oh, but Nosy Kid, though, that's a huge stun onto almost 4, though. But get that shut down there by Sean's Beard, but it doesn't matter. Taking into the death row, but still under tower, as Sean's Beard absolutely fragging a double kill for himself. The Cinder is already 5-1 with the Ludus and the Morellos, and honestly, anybody hit by these dog spears will go ahead and be chunked, be thunked, and sent back to the fountain. A 1 for 2 for ATS. Make that a 2 for 2.
Caster's Curse, there we go. Both of us calling it a little bit early there. 2 for 2, a good trade for Feed the Dream because they end up getting the outer turret in that mid lane as well for themselves. And Peruano actually didn't have to go down in that fight. I think he just wasn't aware that he was tanking the turret for a very, very long time. The bulk of the damage was the turret here.
Yes, but speaking of which, the Blake taken down to half, taken and lay smack down on. He just came back, Karma. Give him a break.
No, I mean, he doesn't deserve it. I mean, that's the... Okay, so this is the thing that kind of peeved me off a bit in the champs, that in case this wasn't obvious enough. But what is Rammus doing against this composition?
Yeah, he's trying to just run in, but again, Depression is taken down to tries to pop the ultimate, but no one really nearby. Tactical slam, but almost had nothing but barely with Spirit, and that is the Ocean Soul coming in for, oh my god, for Feed the Dream. But you could say that last game they were starving, but right now their belly's looking mighty full here, Minicaster.
Oh my, that was brutal to watch. Both Binks and Depression just running into their deaths there. Somebody called the suicide watch because that was brutal to see. I mean, they ran solo into 5. There was no backup whatsoever. Yes, Minty is a walking health pot, but health pots need time, and not to mention Minty wasn't even in the area, and now they lose So and they lose Baron. Forget which one they're gonna lose. It's just gonna be both.
See that right now? Oh no. Minty was just trying to ward, man. That's such a support feels. He's wanted to get a couple of vision, just a bit of vision. Dapper says, hey, just step a little bit closer, and then boom goes dynamite. Sent back to the fountain almost immediately. That he's gonna be 0-5 right now. And Ocean Soul and Baron for Feed the Dream, and the Dream is looking more and more plausible as you go ahead throughout this game, but it's still only a 4K gold lead.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just brutal. Apes Together Stronger. Apparently, Apes Together also die together because we saw now Minty joining the ranks of Binks and Depression there. I mean, that was... I'm not quite sure how we're going to adjust that. And that, unfortunately, actually sets Apes behind significantly. Feed the Dream is on a timer, but they've got themselves the Baron, they've got themselves the Soul, and that buys them even more time. I am looking at them to try and do something with the Baron, though. Right now, they're a bit scattered. Trustius is still trying to deal with Depression in that top lane there. And even with the Baron buff, I'm not confident that he's going to be able to win the 1v1. So the rest of his team needs to pressure somewhere else instead. Look and to try and make use of this Baron buff.
See what more they can do right now. They only have one pushing lane. Sorry, they make that 2 pushing lanes right now. Up onto the bot side, the mid side, push up almost to the tower. But Tasty's Karma trying to make that 3 pushing lanes as he is, as he is almost to the tower up on the top side, putting pressure all across the map. Nobody can necessarily even doubt, really even duel him right now, considering he has the Leandries, and he's gone for the Stinger build, which is really interesting. Going for the attack speed. I remember I see this a lot more before, especially for early Mordekaiser. Right now we see the rallies, but I guess he's feeling a bit more confident. Like shoulders are cocked back. He's right now puffing his chest, you might say.
Yeah, no, that turret going down knows he might be engaging here.
But we'll see as he does that, though. Gets almost a 5 full man stun. Sean's Beard staying alive for a bit longer. Goes golden, but oh so low. A couple more archers do it. And they're knocking out the base of ATS. They want to go ahead and take them down. Take them apart like they're taking apart in that previous game. That should be the first mid-inhib tower going down to. And the inhib as well. Unless ATS might have something to say about it. Depression trying to battle them, but can't do so. Only gets the spirit. That's mid inhib and Karma too. Push all the way up to the tower. Oh, nice stun onto 2 heals, keeping them up for a little bit longer. Depression just in the middle of a team fight. Karma takes down his counterpart in the top lane, getting a 3-0 right now, looking really good so far. And he gets the stats too, so he's gonna be kind of scary.
I mean, this is just great play, great bait from Trustiest Karma as well, and the fight ain't over yet.
But you see more base coming into, pulled in, and almost smacked down. But Nosy Kitten Kisser in a bit too far, but still, so far a 2-for-1 up on the both sides. Blake wants to go ahead and get more, gets a taunt onto one, but the flash almost immediately because he knows he can't do much. Barely has a Thorn Mill and a Cinder Hulk. He's not tanky enough to be able to take up all this damage. That should be the bottom side inhibitor going down too. That's 2 inhibs, 2 permanently pushing lanes here, and the base is falling apart for ATS.
Yeah, that Baron power play was absolutely massive. Baron is off now, but they got 5 turrets plus 2 inhibitors as well. That's absolutely huge. Their gold just exploded. They were only about, what, 2,000 before the Baron? And now they're up about 7,500 gold here, and they're gonna get the last standing inner turret as well. They're taking everything away. No, it looks like Apes will actually be able to defend this one, but it's super low and will go down as soon as Feed the Dream really give it a good staring at.
Exactly right now, ATS are just left to go ahead and play a small game of tower defense as they try to keep any remnants of their base alive, but they cannot do much at all. The team members coming in, your team members for Feed the Dream, looking stronger and stronger. This Ocean Soul, especially in these standard team fights, is putting in work as the final nail of the coffin. Is putting for the tower, and Entropy should get out just fine. He's up against 3. The Blink wants this. He wants to get this gank off, but will not be able to do so.
Now the game is firmly on the side of Feed the Dream. Honestly, if you hit all the name tags, I could very easily believe that it was actually against Apes together stronger on the blue side and Feed the Dream on the red side, because you see right now Feed the Dream roaming together as a group, nobody really traveling too much on their own, whereas you take a look over on the side of Apes and they're the ones sort of separated constantly. What on earth was that laser? Oh, clearing waves. Okay, sorry. Pardon me, got distracted by the final spark there. And it's actually Apes together stronger now, roaming around on their own separately, not together, and feeding the dream of Feed the Dreams right now.
100%. What seemed like a vision, but was simply the ult though. But ooh, nice pull onto 2. Sean's Beard goes golden for a little bit longer. Should be able to get out just fine. So many flashes burned from both sides, but Depression caught out in the middle of 4. All comes out. Will live for just a little bit longer. Taken into the death realm, and just like that, Trusty's Karma making life not so great here for for Depression on his counterpart on the top lane 4 and 2. Man, ever since you talked about Depression here, Minion Caster, he has not been left alone. This man was doing perfectly okay, and now every single time that fight starts, he's currently caught in the middle of a nice route onto 2. The all comes out. Oh, Sean's Beard taken so low though. That's the Elder on top of that coming in for Feed the Dream, so that not only gives them the burn, but the execute too, which is very dangerous.
They're late to their own bases here. Their base is already in shambles.
And shambles indeed, and so will their lives right now as Mordekaiser puts the final nails on the coffin. Nosy Kitten Kisser kicking the final member, making the unofficial ace here coming out for Feed the Dream, and after a beautiful game one, a rough game two, but a clean game three, they go ahead and take the series. Really well done by both sides. But oh man, if they weren't full before, the dream has been fed, the game has been said. And Feed the Dream, take the series, like I said.
Yeah, great game. That has got to be the most satisfying sound in the game when that execution just thunks down out of the sky there. You see somebody just drop dead who thought they got away. That was just a great ending to that game. And I just want to bring attention to the fact that Trustiest Karma ended 6-0-2 on the Mordekaiser here. He was actually down CS, but he never actually died, despite them throwing everything in the kitchen sink at him sometimes in the top lane, just constantly surviving. Travel Pan in the mid lane as well. He went 2-2-11 on the Lux, which isn't exactly great. Did whiff a lot of the skill shots, but still came second highest on damage for his team. And who got the highest? Of course, it's going to be Entropy, who finally got his hands on the Ezreal. This is why teams ban out the Ezreal, even over the Caitlyn here. And teams playing against Feed the Dream will do well to take note. If you're going to give Entropy his Ezreal, you better have a counter for it.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely, dude. You can see why it's banned away in so many of these games, being extremely impressive, and the Shun as well doing a lot of work for the side of I'll Feed the Dream. It's like like chilling in the bushes, landing these 2-3 man stuns and these taunts consistently every single time, doing so well, being able to gain these lane advantages. Plus, also Nosy Kid and Kisser going go for the AP and Mumu as well. Like get, getting a bunch of burst damage. I believe he was 4-0 by the time we were almost halfway through the game. So getting all these kills only worked out in their favor. And like Travel Pan didn't do well. It didn't do too bad for himself, going to kind of even lane against the center, which is honestly all you could hope for. But the CC change, the lockdowns, leaving the side of ATS pretty much wondering whether this is ever going to end. I feel like at a certain point, when you come in with the Lux binding, then the Mord, and then the Shen, and then the Amumu, I feel like I can go out in the world, find a wife, get married, have kids, die, come back to life, and I still wouldn't be locked up. I lie.
Pretty much. I mean, you die, you come back, and the Suns are still going on for now. And I also want to just shout out whoever is the coach here for Feed the Dream, because their draft was on point here in this game three. It was really, really solid. It baited us when we were looking at it, and it actually the runaround they gave with that Lux into the mid, Morden to the top, and Shen in support worked out beautifully. They won basically. Well, they didn't win every single lane. They won the side lanes, and mid lane went even, which, as you said, is all you can really ask for running into a Syndra. And you can just see 22-7 the final score. They really just turned it on and just ran all over Apes together stronger. That being said, Apes together stronger. GG to them as well. I still find the Rammus pick questionable, but other than that, everything else really kind of worked out till that mid game where all of a sudden Depression went from 0-0-0 to 0-4-0.
He just called him out. He couldn't do it. But yeah, definitely. And also, huge shout out to Sean's Beard as well, going 5-3 on the center, doing a lot of work for himself. Having a really solid laning phase and trying to extend his lead as much as he could. But Blinks, just couldn't put on the same amount of pressure as he could on the Olaf in the third game, just not working out the same. But really good stuff by both different teams. With that being said, though, Random Meaning Caster, any final thoughts on the game?
On the game itself, not really, but going forward, I think Feed the Dream securing this win is actually pretty important to them because Apes Together Stronger was a very strong contender as well. So them winning this puts them in a good place. And for Apes Together Stronger, though they do lose this series here, they play another full 3 games. And I think it's also an adapting period for Apes Together Stronger. So I am expecting to see them constantly evolve as the league runs on. And I think they still have a pretty good shot of making it here into the final 6 for their groups.
Most definitely they do it. Where could they also find you, Random Meaning Caster?
Uh, for now, I'm still setting up my Twitter. It is a Random Minion Caster. I am also casting over at some other leagues, but they're going on break for now. So I will update you guys with where you can find me once I get all those things set up here.
No worries. You can also find me at RAVISHKHANNA_ for any and all of your casting needs. I am the man who can please, I would say. But thank you again to also our producer, both Joe and Hey It's Me, Phenomenal job, guys. Thank you, Risen. With that being said, have a good night. Peace.